United 2, Palace 1. Horrible last few minutes there. I'm joined by Stephen Howson. What did you make of that?
I was thinking about the hour mark. Game needs a bit of needle to it or something to happen, because it was a bit dry, wasn't it? It was like they had loads of possession. We had loads of possession. We was having chances, but it was a bit nothing happening.
A bit soft.
Just not really boring, if I could say boring. And then it got less boring.
In a way that you would like? Or in a way that... Actually, let's go before that. United's second goal I thought was fantastic. I thought the way that we drew them onto us and then went again trying to sort of...
We had like a bit of a period of possession, sort of like working it left, working it right. Great shape, great movement, and great control of all of that lot. And Luke Shaw with another assist. Marcus with another goal.
Brilliant.
He's in pretty decent form, isn't he?
Yeah, really good form. United won 13 home games in a row now, which is phenomenal, obviously. But
could it be better, though?
14. 14 would be better. Casemiro, but some people looking at the replay saying that he grabbed his collar, not his neck. But to me, it's one of them where I can see why he sent him off. From some angles, it looks like he just does that.
Have you seen Jeffrey Schlupp done the same to Fred in that incident?
Yeah, he was grabbing his neck and all that. But it was one hand. Maybe that was the difference. Casemiro was just two-handing it up. But anyway...
Homer Simpson did, didn't he?
Yeah, that's what we were saying before. Just fully... What are you, little? But after that, obviously, things got difficult.
But on the incident, though, I don't hate it.
No.
I quite like that Casemiro will throttle you.
And I like that when our player gets pushed off the pitch down the hill...
He was first in, by the way, Casemiro.
Yeah.
He was the first one over.
But everyone went in, and I love that. And there was times in seasons gone by where one person gets fouled and then you stand up and, where's my teammates? Oh, it's just Fred. Usually Fred would get stuck in, even if no one else
or
would.
Lingard.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone's like, why don't you go away?
Yeah, but now, if you hurt someone or push someone or take the piss, everyone's on you. I like that, even if it involves the odd red card that we might not need. What did you think of the 10-man performance then? Because obviously it's not something that you necessarily plan for.
No.
Did you think we were good? Did you think we struggled?
I thought we struggled, but more than I would have expected. I thought we had enough in us. Maybe if it hadn't have been Casemiro, you'd have been pretty... If it had been like Fred or even Rashford, or Garnacho, someone like that, you might have coped a little bit better. But Casemiro's the one guy you want in that circumstance, and he's the one gone. That's a bit frustrating. But I thought we were poor after he went. And obviously they made subs. They then gambled. I mean, they're 2-0 down. What else do you do if you're Vieira? And he's got them playing really well. Like, in my head, I still sort of like judge Crystal Palace as like when Roy Hodgson was there, and it's just lump it forward. Still think Benteke's there. Just like lump it forward and just direct and just shit. But they're not. They can actually play football. They've got like quite a bit about them, and they got some pace and some trickery across the forward line. So they're gonna cause you problems if they can get their tails up, which they didn't have for like the first hour. They were just sort of like a bit meek, and then we get the second. Literally, remember, that's that done. Yeah. And then obviously you have the incident, you have them. They scored within a couple of minutes of that happening. You go, Jesus. Yeah. So then you can't help but flap as United, and you can't help but have your tails up if you're Crystal Palace. And it made it, for a neutral, I'm sure, a really good last 10 minutes. Terrifying for us, though.
I couldn't tell from the angles we saw quite why De Gea he didn't read it. He didn't see the flight of the ball at all for their goal. I couldn't really see. Was there a man in his way? Was it just the way that he flicked his leg out that kind of distracted him?
Only saw it once.
Yeah, it looked like it was sort of looped in quite near him, but he just didn't. He never got a read on it. Sabitzer came on. I thought looked pretty good. I thought he sort of had a bit of the Fred about him, but then also had a bit more class on the ball than Fred maybe at times. Did you think he had a good sort of cameo?
Not enough to really comment on, to be honest, but I think he's going to have to get up to speed immediately, because you lose Eriksen to the injury, you lose Casemiro now for a few weeks. For the next 3 domestic games at least, you can't go back to McFred.
Well, McTominay's injured.
So you can't go back to McFred.
Exactly.
So, all right, so it's going to be Fred and Sabitzer then, potentially, or unless they just bring Zidane in out of the cold.
Or Lindelof is the one who he played 10 minutes there, didn't he, last week, and then Ten Hag said he could play there.
He has got the option of playing Martinez there as well, which wouldn't shock me, in all honesty. you got to do something though, because you can't go back to the just lack of progression. And like, what's been so good about United is the midfield has been so good about United this season, and because the midfield has been good, it's offered protection to the defence, and it's also allowed the defence to play out. That's elevated, so everything gets to go up because the most important part of the pitch is midfield, and it's been really good. So Sabitzer needs to get up to speed ASAP. I think he's capable. And he'll be big in those games, especially against Leeds, because that'll be energetic. And I think you need someone that's probably used to that sort of tempo, and I think he is used to that tempo. But just talk about Martinez.
Yeah.
He's unbelievable, Jeff, isn't he? Yeah. He's mint.
He's so good. Like everything. So like one-on-ones where you think this guy's definitely faster than him. He slows him down just enough till Varane and Shaw get back. Then he puts his tackle in. Like you think because he's, you know, Argentinian, he's quite small, he's got this kind of aggressive side to him, you think Marcus Rojo. But he's not. He's got so much more intelligence. Really he's so much smarter. His football IQ is off the charts compared to that.
His toast is like flawless.
It's unbelievable. His toast is not burned, blackened beyond belief like Rojo's was. But he's such a smart player. Just because he screams and he shouts and he gets red-faced.
And he might kill you.
That doesn't mean he loses his head. Tell me a bit more about him, because I just think he's phenomenal.
Yeah, I think his blocks, his interceptions, his clearances. You're right. Those are the obvious things. Like he's some sort of like old school Des Walker kind of character. But he's got some football intelligence. He reads the game phenomenally. How often do you see him sprinting places?
Yeah, very rarely.
It's the same as Casemiro. Casemiro cuts about the place like he's texting, like he's just doing nothing. It's because their reading of the game is so elite that they can just make minor adjustments rather than be like, oh shit, I got to get back there. And that's what makes them such a good player. And because he's the hot one out of the two, and he's not that hot, he just got the threat of being hot, which is good. It's like he's got it under control, but you step out of line, I'll kill you, which is such a good quality for him to have. You've got the coolness of Varane alongside him, and he's brought out the best in Varane in such a big way. But yeah, and you've got the pretty composed potential murderer sort of vibe going on with Martinez, and I just think he's so good. He's elite on the ball. He's so much better than I thought. I'd done quite a bit of scouting of him and thought he's pretty good on the ball. Oh no, that's really not doing him the service. He's so good.
It's weird. Just sort of referencing this before on our review, but I think going to it a bit deeper here. I think that because there was so much focus on his height, people are just kind of going, well, he don't get dominated in the air
at all.
And but then that's almost distracting from the fact that he's world class on the ball. His defensive positioning is sensational. His reading of the game is brilliant. He knows when to dive. Like there's a point in the second half, right near the end, where he came out of the left centre back position into the left back position, closed his man, got a tackle in, and it looked like he'd touched the ball last. So then he looks up down the line to play it down the line, and instead just dummies it and lets it roll out. And we got the throw in because he knew they got the last touch. And you just think he never loses it. He never gets it wrong. I can't believe, over half a season in now, how few times you've gone, what are you doing? It's such a stark contrast to the last 10 years of centre-backs that we've had.
Yeah, I don't want to use this as an opportunity to pick on Maguire, but there's so much of Maguire where you go, check your shoulder, like you said, you go, why have you done that?
Yeah.
And the thing about Casemiro and the thing about Eriksen is you watch them do stuff and you go, that was good.
Yeah.
And that's such a nice feeling to have about the players. And there's loads of that. Even Wan-Bissaka last season would have been what you're doing tastic. Like, you'd have been ticking that off 44 times a game. This season, you're going, oh, he's done well there.
Yeah.
And that's got to be all credit to the coaching staff. I wonder how much of this is Steve McLaren's experience. I wonder how much of this is Ten Hag led himself. I'd love to know. I'd love to get myself snuck into Carrington.
I know, it'd be good, lad. We're going to be in Carrington tomorrow, actually.
Oh, are you?
Yeah. Well, actually, I don't know if I can talk about that, but we will be chatting to someone. But it's not Ten Hag or McLaren, unfortunately. Just before we go, looking forward then, Casemiro, assuming it's a 3-match ban, will be back for the League Cup final, but won't be playing domestically until then. I know you mentioned about Sabitzer, but do you think we need to do anything else differently to overcome what is obviously a massive loss in the middle?
Potentially use Martinez or Lindelof, maybe, if you want a bit more defensive stability. I know Lindelof's featured a couple of times there, but not for us, I don't think. Anyway, could try Phil Jones.
He's not even in the cup or league squads anymore.
Good point.
Is
You can't try Phil Jones.
No. There's just not many options, is there? It literally has to be Sabitzer or a centre back, and Fred
Or Zidane.
And
I don't think it'll be Zidane. Imagine it's Kobe Mainoo.
Yeah.
Imagine Kobe Mainoo just suiting up against Leeds and then smashes it. The way the season's going for Ten Hag, I wouldn't put both of those things happening past him.
No. Speaking of both of those things happening, Arsenal lost, Liverpool lost. Your thoughts?
And Chelsea dropped points as well.
Yeah.
This is hilarious, Joe.
Yeah. It is good, isn't it? It's really nice.
If Chelsea and or Liverpool finish 10th or below, what?
I don't know.
Why is nothing being said?
I don't know, because you can't criticise Klopp because he's done too much for him. So he's like, that's the media mindset.
I think you can.
Well, yeah, I would agree. But at the minute, it's like, he's doing so bad that if he was anyone else,
3 years since he won the title.
You'd be saying he's got to be sacked.
I know they still keep showing photos of it.
Yeah.
It's 3 years since he won the title.
If it was anyone else, you'd say he needs to be sacked. But because it's him and no one will ever say that, therefore they almost can't criticise him, because you can't be fair, because what you would say if it was anyone else is he's got to go. So they just don't say anything. And with Chelsea, well, Potter's a good manager, he just needs time. What do you expect when they've spent 600 billion quid in the last 2 days? But it's great, because every weekend you watch.
Who goes first?
Potter, definitely. Oh, I don't know. Maybe same day. That'd be nice.
I don't think Klopp is sacked.
No.
But I defo see him walking.
He could walk. He could just say, this is too much for me now. But it's great that every single week, pretty much it feels like one of Arsenal, City, Liverpool, Chelsea or Tottenham drop points. So every week you get to watch someone drop points. It's phenomenal, isn't it? Right, that's going to be all from us. Hit subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you in a bit.